Hello, hey, sweet people, and welcome to another episode of Inglês no Rádio. My name is Foster, and as always, I am here with
Alexia. Hi, everyone.
Alexia. How are you doing?
I'm good. And going directly to the point, have you noticed how Portuguese people pronounce my name?
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how that is directly to the point, but tell me more.
So, Alexia in Brazilian Portuguese, right? Portuguese people, they say something kind of Alexia.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different, right?
Yeah, they have a closed vowel sound at the beginning.
Yeah. And I think it's beautiful as well. I don't mind at all. That's the difference between Brazilian Portuguese and Portuguese, European Portuguese. And I say that it's directly from to the point because if you know how to pronounce words the way that it should be in your language or the language that you're studying, you are making progress. And you know, oh, that person is saying that in European Portuguese, or this person is saying that in Brazilian Portuguese. And the same happens in English if you have a good pronunciation or if you don't. Pronunciation.
Pronunciation. There we go.
And I'm saying this because today we are discussing the intermediate level, correct?
Yes.
And it's when things get fun.
That was so beautiful, Alexia. Thank you. And so not directly to the point.
I think it is.
My goodness. Behind the scenes, guys, I said, okay, Alexia, I want this episode to be short, sweet, to the point. Just give the students the information they want to hear. And then we have Alexia viajando. Okay. So, if you're listening to this episode, we imagine that you have already listened to some of our previous episodes where we talk about the different stages of language learning, being a beginner, an intermediate, and an advanced student. And today we're going to give you some tips and things to talk about or things to think about when you are in the intermediate stages of learning English.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay. So, Alexi, your first tip was related to pronunciation?
I think that opening your ears.
Yes. I think that's a good way to say it. Honestly, I think pronunciation is so important and so fundamental to learning a new language that it is really good advice for beginners also. Like, start with the sounds of the language from the beginning, and that will save you a lot of time and a lot of effort in the long run. But if you are an intermediate speaker, you can already have conversations and like you can read and write and understand some things, then your pronunciation is really, really important.
And I do think that the majority of the people who are listening to us, they are from the intermediate level, somewhere around there.
Yes. Yes, we're using the word intermediate in a very wide, liberal way.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're an intermediate student and you are still having difficulty having conversations, 90% of the time that is related to pronunciation.
Yeah.
So there are just sounds in English that you do not know how to pronounce, or you are uncomfortable making those sounds, and that makes it more difficult to have conversations and a lot more difficult to understand, like when you're listening to native speakers.
Yeah. And I think that a good link there is something like what worked for you so far to get to this level, and what hasn't.
What did not work?
What did not work for
Or
you?
hasn't worked?
Hasn't. Yeah, I wasn't getting there. So what hasn't worked? Because, for example, for me, my way of studying could be completely different than for you, for example, Foster.
Yes.
So to analyze that and understand how you can make more improvements, taking, for instance, like to get to intermediate level, what worked for you? How did you get here?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a really interesting concept that I think it takes most people way too much time to really understand. The idea is that you are your own best teacher. So you know the things that are most difficult for you. And for example, when you're a beginner, you are probably going to waste a lot of time like studying grammar or trying to learn vocabulary. And then when you're an intermediate and you go out in the world and you have conversations, you can recognize, I spent all of those hours studying vocabulary about, I don't know, different body parts in English, and I never use them in my day-to-day life. So learning from your own experience, super important.
Yeah.
Good point, Alexia.
Thank you. Do you have anything?
I think the intermediate stage it's really fun because it's kind of where you can have conversations and you can understand a lot. So I would really recommend doing that as much as possible. So if you can have conversations with native speakers, that's amazing. If you can do a language exchange or something like that, or even if you just talk to yourself when you're driving in the shower, the more you move your mouth in English, the better.
Yeah, so online meetups or in-person meetups, whatever makes you to get out of your comfort zone, I think it's very important as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about myself because I think that I find my level around intermediate, maybe
It's
advanced at intermediate, but I'm
upper
still
intermediate.
Yeah. But I'm still here. And right now, my biggest concern is to how to improve my language, my English, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the more that I put myself out there with people that I'm not used to talk to, better.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the key word here perhaps is exposure. So for example, Alexia, your English is getting a lot better. And I think I can identify 3 key reasons. Number 1, we work a lot in English. We speak a lot of English together. Number 2, you are making a lot of new friends that are from different places. They have different accents. So you're exposed to a variety of different English speakers. And number 3, you are reading all of the time in English. So it's just constant input and output.
And I would say that 80% of my day nowadays is in English.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but this is a discussion for another episode. But I would leave it right here for you. I think that my English nowadays is more like English expat and not English. So I would like to have a conversation about this with you in the future.
Okay. We'll put a pin in that.
Yeah. But do you have any other tip? I think one that it's very important is accountability.
Yeah. Essentially, accountability. I don't think you have a very good word for that in Portuguese, at least not a good direct translation. But the idea is to have people or things in your life that guarantee that you are going to continue studying and making progress. So, for example, Alexia, you are doing ceramics classes. So the accountability in that is you know that you've already paid for the classes. Every Wednesday you have to go. If you don't go, the professor is going to say, hey, where are you? The other people in the group are going to be sad. You've been talking about it to me all of the time, and I'm going to say, like, hey, Alexia, what happened to the ceramics thing? And it's really just having people or things in your life that help you stay motivated and continue to make progress.
Yeah, and there are a bunch of ways that you can do that. For example, you can install an app on your phone that will lock your phone for 30 minutes unless you do this. Or in your computer, it doesn't have to be like a physical person. I prefer that, having someone. But if you can find a software or an app to help you to have a study plan or something like that that works for you, it's amazing as well.
People are motivated by very different things. So probably if you're an intermediate already, you understand your motivations. For some people, it works to have, like, I don't know, say publicly, post on Facebook or tell your friends and family, like, hey guys, I'm learning English and I'm taking it very seriously. And then if you stop, they're going to ask you about it.
Yeah, exactly.
For other people, it's more of a private motivation thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You do you.
You do you. Okay, so I think that's it, right?
Yeah, we can wrap it up for today. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We appreciate your sweet little ears listening to Alexia's sweet voice and me just say silly things. And as always, keep up the good fight.
And lose well. Bye.